Welcome to She Sells Radio and welcome to day 30 of the Finish Strong Challenge. How are you doing? If you were following along with me on this, and I know many of you are because I get your DMs, I see your posts on social. I just want to know, what have the past, we've had weekends in there, so it's been more than 30 days, but what have the past 30 or so days been like for you? And how's the transformation been? And again, if you're listening later on and you're ready to kickstart like a major transformation in your life, you can go back to day one of this challenge on the podcast and do it in order and really be available for how much can shift for you in a short amount of time when you're focused. And so today is all about how affirming and appreciating yourself leads to more abundance in your life. And this is, to me, one of the fastest ways to kick out of any low vibe thinking, any self-critical thoughts. And oftentimes that comes in because you haven't stopped and acknowledged what is it that you've already done. And especially when we're heading towards a big goal, it can be natural, almost just the way our brains are wired, for them to focus on what haven't you done, right? What's the gap? And that's how my brain typically goes to at first. And unless I consciously shift it, it'll say, well, I'm still, this amount away from my goal, or I'm still, it feels the separation, right, between the goal. So it feels the separation between me and my goal often. That's how it goes. And unless we consciously shift the energy, we'll continue to be in kind of that lack mindset. And so, we were actually doing this yesterday on a group call with a mastermind that I'm a part of. And I thought it was so powerful. And I just wanted to share it with you here briefly today, which is to look at, you're probably very clear on the things you said you would do this year that you haven't done yet. And, if you're not, it's actually really helpful to go through and kind of just write them out and see, not to beat yourself up, but just to see, okay, where am I? And let me be in reality right now with what the gap is between what I said I was going to do and what I actually did. And you'll often find that the things that you write down on that sheet of paper, either they weren't priorities, they just weren't a must for you this year, like if you're really honest with yourself, or they just need some more time. And so it's not about beating yourself up. It's also not about sticking your head in the sand, but it's just having like a healthy awareness of where you are on things right now. But then the next thing that I want you to do for today's challenge is write out and reflect on, what did you do this year? What did you accomplish? And as I was doing this yesterday on our call, it was incredible to me to see what had happened. And it was interesting because this was the theme for me this year, and also for a lot of the women in the group that are in the mastermind with me too, it was kind of like how did we phrase it? Like the necessary year you didn't think you were going to have. And for a lot of the women in the group, they're like, oh, I had this, this massive financial goal, or what felt massive for them, or they had this big goal they didn't achieve, but there were all these foundational pieces that needed to be put into place that actually did happen this year. You may have had a very different year, but it was just interesting seeing the commonalities with the women, because that was my experience of this year. Like when I look back on what's happened, there's been amazing things that have happened. I've had some of my biggest revenue months ever. We got pregnant with our second. It got some just incredible, we got an incredible dream team on board, took phenomenal family vacations. I think I also stepped into my power in a way I haven't done before, and just really owned like what's important to me in my life without really caring much at all about what other people want from me or think of me, which is a fun place to be. And I think from what I hear, it only grows as you get older. So I'm kind of getting there, and it's fun. But there were so many big wins. And yet with that still, the things that were wins felt foundational to some of the next like big picture, big vision goals that I have, some of which I thought would happen this year that didn't, but I can look back and see how all the foundational elements and pieces needed to come into place. And so as you look at what did you accomplish? What did you achieve? I want you to really be available to own, okay, this is actually what was important to me. And as you do it, if you say, you know what, it really wasn't what was important to me, it's an opportunity to make a shift. And you don't have to wait until next year to make that shift. You can make that shift now and say, what do I need to stop doing? What do I need to block out more time for? Is there more time for me, more time for self-care, more time for what I love? Those are often the things I'm hearing from women in our community and from my clients, is just that craving for more time, more spaciousness in their weeks and their days. And it's something that I'm very, very consciously cultivating and creating in my own life right now too. So maybe you look at what happened and you're like, you know what, I do need more space. I do need more time moving forward. And what can I shift and adjust now to start stepping into that, even if it feels kind of like baby steps. But from that energy of what you did accomplish, I want you to bring that with you into the rest of this year and into the rest of the completion of your goal, really honoring and acknowledging everything you brought to the table. And the accomplishments, they're not just the tangible either. Like when I look back on this year, and you've heard me talk on the podcast, maybe if you've listened before, about my summer of wisdom. There was so much wisdom I needed to glean this year, which I got. I'm sure there's still more, but I had a healthy dose this year. I mean, that was a big win, just stepping into, I think, greater discernment in my life, in my business. I feel like there's been just elevation after elevation in consciousness. And even as I record this now, there've been almost like, it's like the veils being lifted. I don't know how to say it any other way, just in terms of consciousness and awareness in my life and in my perception of how things work. And so to me, those are the big wins. Like they really are those inner shifts. So yes, look at the physical, tangible results that you've created, but don't discount the inner shifts, because those will always lead to physical, tangible results in your life as well. So that's your challenge for today. You're going to use your workbook that comes along with the challenge. And if you don't have it yet, you can get it for free, ElyseArcher.com/challenge. Use your workbook for this week and journal today on, and again, just number one, get real. What did I say I was going to do this year that I didn't? But then number two, what did I do? And you can even look back through your calendar and just acknowledge and kind of look back, month to month, week to week, what did happen in your life? What did you accomplish? When you're done with that, to be entered into the challenge, what you're going to do is share on social. So you'll take your graphic from the challenge. You will check off that you did today, day 30, and you'll tag me at Elyse Archer, use the hashtag #SheSellsChallenge, and you'll be entered to win our prize drawing. So I hope that serves you. Build on that energy of appreciating and affirming yourself will create more abundance, because when you're in that energy of, I'm winning, look what I'm accomplishing, look what I'm achieving, look how I'm evolving, look how I've overcome, right? We elevate our self-perception and our self-belief, which in turn creates opportunities for more abundance. It's how it works. So can't wait to hear what you thought of today's episode. Always, please tag me, share, let me know what you're getting from this. I'm at Elyse Archer on all social. I will see you on day 30.